Welcome to the Right Place podcast, where we learn with you how to navigate the world in connections that matter, relationships that last, and businesses that thrive. My name is Ben Watson, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Rudolf Rautenbach. Rudolf, what's happening in Pretoria?
Good, John. Yeah, Pretoria's well and fine. We've been talking about it when Chris was here, that the weather's always 32 degrees and it rains in the afternoon. And it's still the same. We're blessed with good weather and actually a nice season as well this time of year where things cool down a little bit, although for some reason the days are still very hot. But everything's going well, John. How's your things going?
No, excellent. Cape Town is beautiful. Had a couple of beautiful days of good weather this side. Everything's going well with the family side, business side as well. Got a bit of a hectic period coming up as we move into the Easter holidays.
Yeah, I for some reason, since Chris was here, it's just momentum and things are happening all at the same time. So I'm always trying to keep up rather than setting the pace at the moment, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I think we need those seasons where it's also so busy that you actually do a lot of work and not just talk about work. So the important part, I suppose, is to still take time out to reflect and to strategize and think about the next things that one wants to achieve.
No, absolutely. I'm still being contacted by a few people that we met in Pretoria side and Cape Town side, people that want to do something together or just learn more about what we actually did with Chris Fenning while we were here. And those are conversations I'm more than happy to have with people and just to help them, point them in the right direction. And maybe, who knows, where the collaboration could end up. But let's move on to what we want to talk about today. And we want to go back to the beginning of networking and find out, what did we know about networking and connections and building relationships when we were younger? If I think back to my school days, I didn't know what connections were. I didn't know what a networking event was or anything like that. That's one of those things that they don't teach you enough about at school. They'd rather teach you the insides of a sheep than how to become an entrepreneur or build a business or anything like that. So Rudolf, what is your first maybe memory of networking or connections or building relationships that you can maybe remember from your school days?
Interesting question in that I grew up in a small town. There wasn't a lot of those type of opportunities. So if I think back now, the networking, the whole theory of networking almost didn't exist. What happened with me is I was on a lot of committees and things at school, and also involved quite a bit at the church, but also with sport. A lot of interaction with other teams, and as if you go up in the trials and things throughout the school career, you meet a lot of people. But unfortunately, I never really figured it or took it as a networking opportunity. I saw it as, we made some new friends, but you just as soon as you meet the new person and you disengage, you go back to your different homes, different towns even, you almost lose that aspect of relationship building because before the days of cell phones, I know half the people listening to this won't understand that, but you always didn't keep track of those relationships until you saw each other again, because you had a common interest. For instance, in my case, a lot of time it was cricket or so sports. You picked up the pieces quickly and you were able to keep the relationship going, but not something that I unfortunately actively pursued. And I resent that a little bit. I think I should have made a bigger effort and tried to drive it harder. But it wasn't the case. What was your experience at school?
I think it was very similar. I think we grew up in the 80s and the 90s where you had to go and study a certain thing and that would give you your job. No one was really starting businesses in school. And your friends, dads and moms had normal jobs. A lot of the moms would teachers or a housewife or a nurse. A lot of the dads were an accountant, or they worked for the military, or they worked for the church, or they worked for, or they were an engineer type of thing. So no one had these crazy, spectacular IT-related jobs necessarily. So you just kind of went with the flow. I'm going to go to school, I'm going to finish high school, I'm going to go to varsity, I'm going to get a job. But you didn't really pay attention to what people were doing. And then oftentimes, only later on, you found out, oh, my friend Evan, his dad was a big shot at this place. I wish I knew that. I could have maybe asked for a job or done some holiday work there or something. So I think that in our days, I think it was quite common. Unless your dad was a high flyer and a director of a JSE company or a prominent person in the community, then you could maybe have a bit of a bird's eye view on how networking works. But people didn't depend on networking. You got a job, went to varsity, you got a job, and you stayed in that job for 40 years. It's different now where younger people are connecting. They are starting businesses out of nothing, starting businesses online with a laptop. And I think that's what we maybe want to address now, maybe some of the opportunities that are out there. And I think in school, the first opportunity that I think is, don't just depend on school to teach you what is in the books.
Yeah.
I think be what other people are doing, be aware of what other people are talking about. I know we might be preaching to a different generation. I mean, we're more than 20 years out of school, but I think there's a lot to be said about just paying attention. What are people talking about? Where do they go on holiday? What business deals are their parents involved in, or are they even involved in? And pick up on things like that, because maybe that will spark your interest. When the reason I became a CA is because I spoke to a CA. If I'd maybe spoken to a doctor, someone had told me all about the doctor's journey, maybe I would have chosen doctor. If I had spoken to an engineer, maybe I would have chosen engineer. So just one or two of these conversations can change your whole trajectory. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, for sure. I think what happened is, because our environment where I grew up was so enclosed, everyone always worked at the mine, and very few of the kids' parents worked somewhere else. They might have had their own businesses and so on, but it was rather small in the context of this big organization that always funded the whole town. So I do agree that maybe not as much as to just try and leverage for a job or so on, but I spoke to someone a while ago, and I can't remember who it was, but I told them if I was at varsity now, and I know it's not the same maybe at school, but I would start in my res, I would start a networking event in that res. And more than just networking, almost an entrepreneurship drive within the res. If you look at all these success stories of the big companies, Facebook and all of those, they all started varsity mates, got to know each other that side. So I think the same applies now. The kids are becoming smarter due to the availability of information. And if I was at school now, it's exactly what I would have done. I would have started a side hustle, if you want. I don't like the word hustle, but I would have started that and said, listen, let's do something. It's the best way of learning is by actually doing it. And you can read a lot, you can get a lot of theory in, but the theory only goes that far. And unless you actually do it, you won't be able to learn the lessons. And I mean, if you're at school, you don't have a lot of money, you survive off a bit of pocket money or so on. So start something small, learn from each other, get a mentor in, get someone to come and talk to you about the finance side of business or the marketing side of business. And it turns into some sort of a networking event later on, but you also get to know about the business itself. And that's one of the things that I would have changed if I was a youngster now, because the information is so readily available. And also one thing that I want to add to what you have said over what you would have done maybe is, I find that people want to help. If you just ask, there's always this pride thing. I can't believe John asked me to come and talk to us about marketing. So, and then I'll prepare and I'll be ready. I'll come and talk. I'll give the best talk of my life, because this is pride thing, this honor thing, this kid wants to learn something from me. I cannot think of one person that would just outright say, no, I don't want to help you, especially if it's to the younger generation. So if I was a school kid, I would get a few mates together, get some older people to come and talk to us and show us what they do. It's you can't depend on someone else to go and drive that process for you. It's your career, it's your life. And unless you start making moves and start shaking the boat a bit, it's not going to happen for you. There are so many people on this earth. You cannot wait for other people to create an opportunity for you. And so, I feel strongly that start something where you are. Start small, do something, get a few friends together, maybe get some random people together as well, because you never know what sits in the potential of that collaboration in the end, and it'll grow exponentially because you started it very long ago there. Whereas myself and John only started a few years ago. We maybe in the past, if I started 20 years ago, where could I have been?
No, absolutely. 100% agree with you. Just start something. If I remember back to varsity days, there was a group of guys that were doing mock investments in the JSE. So they were tracking 1,000 Rand or 10,000 Rand investment. And then I think it was every 2 weeks or once a month, they would then get together, take out their Excel spreadsheets and see where they are in terms of the share price and talking and what do these businesses do and everything. And I was always fascinated by that, because that just gives you that mindset. And it was people that were studying CEO with me. So we did this you at varsity for 4 years, and you learn financial management, tax, auditing, and accounting. But no one teaches you how to run the business. No one teaches you how the stock market works. No one teaches you how any of life works. So you know all this stuff, but you actually don't know anything. And then you get to your first year articles and you're just clueless. Whereas if you had maybe started something in varsity, then you use your CA background to then put those policies, procedures, and processes in place to run your business. But you've at least started something. I mean, there's a whole bunch of classic examples that we see in the CA world every year when the top 35, under 35 comes out. It's people that have started something small and grown massively. I mean, the same with the best example that I always quote is the store age guys. They started the storage. I mean, garage storage has been around forever, but they just took it to another level. They made it high quality, high visibility, and I mean, they are buying storage garages overseas now. So, and that's just something small that started, and I think people can benefit just from starting something. Just start something small. And if you don't know what to start, then have a meeting with a couple of people and say, hey, I feel like we should start something. I don't know what to start. Maybe we can start together, or just get the conversation.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be active as well. I think what you said now last, the conversation, like with these wallets that they create for the JSE investment, it's not real money. It's monopoly money, but you learn the lessons and you see, listen, am I investing correctly? Am I not doing it correctly? I, for instance, at varsity had a professor. I worked 1 year at the university directly after studies, and one of the professors was very much into property investment, and it's something that I always quite liked. I had an attraction to it, so I went to sit with him a few times, and he didn't want to share too much. I think he was a very quiet, reserved person as well, so I think he wasn't in his normal being to be very open. But I did ask him about how it works and what he looks at, and things that he believes is core to his investment. And one of the tricks, one of the things that he told me on the day, I still apply myself when I look at a potential investment, is he never buys a new property unless the old one is in a tax-paying position. And I went to work it out, and as soon as you start paying tax on the one, you need to buy the following one so that the interest actually reduces your tax position. I'm like, that's such a simple concept, but had I not had that sit down with him, I wouldn't have known that. So very simple things that you learn from other people, and again, no one forces you. So I could listen to him and disregard it completely, or I could go and implement it. So, there's a few things to create a group of people, and have a bit of a closed session. I would even go as far as to say, have one-on-ones with people that are influential, that you aspire to. If you are interested in a certain subject matter or a certain investment opportunity or business area or so on, find people in that industry and have the chat to them. And because of your curiosity, they will actually freely give. I'm convinced of that. They will share information with you. They'll tell you what to look at, and they'll also link you up with the right people in the right places again. So it's something that we sometimes disregard, thinking that these guys are so high and mighty. But if you start talking to them, they would want to share. And people like to talk about themselves as well, so that they'll very energetically give you information that you might not even have asked for as well. And then another thing is also look at taking part in organized networking. I think from the schools here in Pretoria, they already have entrepreneurship days. They've got entrepreneurship at some schools as a subject, but also as a practical thing where they have mentors coming in and talking about what they did. So join those type of things and understand what it's about. And then for your studies, for instance, go and find the role players in that specific career path in those areas. Maybe a lecturer or someone, or potentially big lawyers firms, and learn from them. You don't have to study to be able to learn, but you can quickly grasp whether or not this is something that attracts you to make an informed decision. But also the fact that you are interested in it would get the other person to help you on that way in future. So I think the relationship building should not wait until you are qualified. It's almost too late then. It needs to start when you got this interest in it. So I think there's a lot of opportunities in getting other people to assist you to achieve your goals through a process, and it can't be a once-off. You have to invest in it as well.
I think people forget that going to varsity gives you tremendous access to a brand new network. So you've signed up for a course, or you're doing CA or engineering or IT or marketing. It now gives you access to that world, because those people that are lecturing you are connected. They are deep in that world. And if you really are passionate about marketing, you should be asking a million questions about stuff that isn't in the textbooks. So you should still be doing your textbook work and building a solid foundation, but you should be bombarding the lecturers with questions and seeing what books are they reading, what events are they attending, who do they know, where can I get holiday work, where can I meet other like-minded people to maximize that opportunity. Because, and I think we've probably both seen this, you get people, you get CAs and then you get CAs. You get people that did the CA course and they end up at a small firm, and you get other people that end up high flyers, they're working in Silicon Valley. Like, how did that happen? That guy, where's the disconnect? And I think sometimes it has got to do with what relationships are you building while you're in the building. And I think those type of things are not going to be taught. Those type of things you have to learn. You have to understand the importance of this first. And then exactly like you say, you have to invest time, effort, and energy into building those relationships, into speaking to people. Otherwise, you're just going to be a normal Joe Soap engineer, CA, architect, whatever you want to be. And then you're going to wonder, but how did Peter go so far? How did Susan go so far? They studied what you did, but it's not just what you study, it's what you do while you're studying. Yeah. And I think people miss that completely. You've got a tremendous access, you've got a tremendous opportunity, and you're still young. You can fail 1,000,000 times, you can make 1,000,000 mistakes, and you can go and sleep on your parents' couch again, and they'll eventually forgive you. But you can't make those type of mistakes when you're 40 or try and reinvent the wheel. Then you've got to make it happen while you're younger. And so when we started the Network Accelerator program under the CBN here in Cape Town, the reason that was born is I was concerned that there weren't a lot of younger people coming to the event. And I was like, if I was 18 years old, I would attend every networking event under the sun. I would meet as many human beings as possible, get business cards, follow people on LinkedIn, on Instagram, see what they are up to. Because that just colors in my worldview and to see what's available. So we created the Network Accelerator program, and the youngsters have taken it over. I don't have to do anything. They run the ship completely. They started with a QR code and put a Google form where people can submit. I'll gladly come and talk to you. And people want to help younger people, exactly like you said. If you just ask, please can I have an hour of your time? Can you explain how VAT works? Or can you explain how BEE works? Or can you explain quantum physics? People will help you. And if you can't get help physically, maybe you set up a Zoom, or maybe you find which YouTube video can help. But that, just taking that step can open so many opportunities for you. And people aren't just going to give you opportunities. You almost have to ask. You have to put yourself.
Now, one other thing that I want to add quickly, and my wife says to me that I'm a little bit obsessed about LinkedIn at the moment, but it works for me. Is that if I was at varsity now, I don't know about school kids because I want to take them off social media, but if I was at varsity now, I would definitely start posting on LinkedIn. I would create my brand. I would start talking about things that interest me. I'll ask the questions there. You might not have physical relationships with these people, but it's growing your interest. And sometimes people are too shy. What if I say dumb things, or I ask stupid questions, or so on? It's all part of the learning process. And you'll get these trolls that irritate you on LinkedIn, and if they harass you, you block them and you carry on with your life. But the majority of people, they are very positive and help each other with information and support each other. And I think you'll also grow into a person that other people wants to know later on. So it's something that I would have started long ago. I've had a LinkedIn account for 15 years, I think, and I only really started using it in the last 2 years, which unfortunately is late. I should have learned about it earlier on. And I think that's something that I want to encourage to the younger guys as well, to try and operate in that. And then the further point I want to make, which is a bit separate from that, is also be prepared to give something. Never just ask the whole time. If you ask someone's time and they give it, then they come and sit with you for an hour teaching you about the VAT or marketing or whatever the case is. Firstly, start with a thank you. Be a person, be a human. Do the right thing and thank them for their time. Be a person that they would want to invest in again. And then also try and see how you can assist them. Is there something that you can help with? You might not know what it is, but you can at least ask the question. So listen, is there anything I can do for you? Is there someone that you might want to meet that I know? And then you at least offer it. If it's a seasoned business person, he will say, "Oh, thanks for the offer, but I'm fine, thank you." And he'll carry on with his life. But he'll remember you. You'll know that you offered the assistance, and it's a quality that you cannot really describe in words. People get drawn to positivity. They get drawn to people who are humble and thankful as well. So I think it's a good habit almost. Although you need to be sincere about it, it's a good habit to have to at least thank people for something that they've done for you, and to try and see how you can assist and give back as well. And to the next person, not only to the person that helped you in that scenario.
I agree with that. I go back to one of my favorite videos at the moment where Barack Obama is being interviewed, and he's asked any advice for young people. And he says, just be known for getting stuff done. Get stuff done. If you can get stuff done, you will go very far in the world. Yeah. If you are helpful, you get stuff done, and you can add value wherever you are, you will always have a job. There is always space for people like that, people that get stuff done. And then on the LinkedIn side, when I presented to the NAP group a few weeks ago, I said, you're young, and a lot of them are still studying, so they may be a year or two away from getting their first full-time job. And I said, remember, when you apply for a job eventually, they are definitely going to look on your social media channels. And if they are looking at 100 people that studied marketing, they're going to look for people who are interesting, people that are doing something, because everyone's marks are going to be good. Everyone's going to be getting straight A's, left, right, and center. If you've got an interesting profile and you've got a history of you're well connected and you are adding value, that is someone that I want to employ, because this person has taken a chance on LinkedIn, put themselves out there a little bit, and is adding positivity into the universe about their career, about their journey. And that I find fascinating. Compared to someone that's maybe got a great CV, but I know we're on social media, they know we're on LinkedIn, I don't know who they connected with. It's such an unknown to me. I don't know who I'm actually dealing with. They might have a rock star CV. But I'm going to go with the interesting person that I found on LinkedIn because they've actually done something. And then I know this person can immediately add value because they've invested this time and effort and energy into their journey. Who do they know? Maybe they can attract new clients to our business. Maybe they can help with our marketing strategy because I see what they are doing. They've got cool ideas, or they're already connected with the right people. So you need to take it seriously, but still have fun with it. In terms of making mistakes, you will make mistakes, but like you said, that's part of the learning process. So I encourage you, just start writing. Say, we're doing test week this week. It's been really tough, but I've been following this new study technique. And in the holidays, say, I met up with some of my marketing buddies and we had a good powwow about how our studies are going this year. Just stuff like that. I mean, that takes literally 5 seconds to write. Post it with a photo. And you never know, maybe a recruiter will come knocking and say, hey, Paul, I really like your stuff. Do you want to come and work with us? We want to do some holiday work. And that is going to increase your visibility. And like we keep saying, you're on the right place. Visibility is important. Your personal brand is important. You need to take those things seriously eventually. And the people that do are the people that are going to go further than you, even though you've got exactly the same degree or qualification.
Yeah, and even if your quality of work is magnificent, the person who attracts the attention normally gets that position. So you can be a great marketer, you can be fantastic, but unfortunately, you might not be as eye-catching because you're not visible. People don't see it. So I think it is important to get to a point where you display some of it. Someone told me the story of someone writing things about them on LinkedIn. And he says, no, you can't write that about me on LinkedIn. I don't want to sound like I'm boasting. And he said to him, but did you achieve this and that? He's like, yeah, I did. So it's like, then let's say it. So if you do something, talk about it. If you achieve something, say it. People will congratulate you. But more than that, they will remember you. They will remember, oh, he's the guy that won that award, or he's the guy that did this and that. And then you go and build yourself a network of unknown people. But as soon as you reach out to something like, well, I remember him because of this, they would never have known it if you didn't put it out there. So it's important to talk about those type of things. And doesn't have to be magic every time. That you can only be as creative. So just talk about things that interest you, things that matter to you. And then people will get to the point where they realize, okay, this is the guy that talks about X, Y, and Z, because the consistency of your message would also attract them to that in the future. So we need to have a session one day about LinkedIn, I suppose, John. I think there's power in that as well.
And the thing is, it's a waste of time to complain. You can't hate the player, hate the game. The game is the game. Everyone's playing the same game. And personal branding is part of it. LinkedIn's part of it. How you present yourself, how you attend events, everything like that. It's just part of the game of life, the game of business, and building relationships. So you can't hate the game. You got to eventually embrace it for it. Start something. Put yourself out there. Get on LinkedIn. Get doing something. There's a million videos on YouTube on how to start. There's so many cool people to follow. Just start. Just invest a little bit of time, 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day. It will pay dividends when you need it the most.
100%, John. I think we can wrap it up there for today. I think we covered a few nice things, and at some stage we might want to interview someone that is in that space at a school or varsity level and see how it really works. We talk because we lost out on the opportunity, but it would be interesting to hear from someone who's actually grasped that opportunity and drove it forward, and to see how it works in real life. But if I was young at the moment, I would do what I'm doing now 20 years ago. And I think I would have been at a different place at the moment because of the relationships that I've fostered better, or in a different way from a younger age. Yeah, that's it from me, John. Any last words from you?
I think we should agree. We must talk to some younger people and hear their perspective on it. Obviously, they're a lot more tech savvy with all the apps and the phones and the devices and things like that. So it'd be great to talk to them. I really enjoyed this topic. I think there's unending advice and avenues that we can explore on this. And looking forward to our next discussion. Thank you to the listeners. Thank you to everyone that's following us, supporting us, and reading the newsletter, listening to the podcast. We really appreciate that. Give us a like and a thumbs up there, and we'll see you next time at the right place.